Then on Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on the 2022 Hawaii Bowl matchup between the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders and the San Diego State Aztecs. Both teams have had good seasons getting to this point. You got Middle Tennessee, one of the top teams in the Conference USA this season, taking on San Diego State, one of the top teams in the Mountain West this season. We'll be over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting with their team trends. Middle Tennessee beat FIU on the road. 33-28 was the final score. And FIU being one of the worst teams in the Conference USA this season. Maybe a bit closer than expected, but a win's a win. And Middle Tennessee is 7-5 to finish out the regular season. As for San Diego State, they lost to Air Force. 3-13 was the final score. Low scoring defensive matchup there for both teams. And Air Force is a team that is known to be a strong defensive team. And so for San Diego State, couldn't get anything going. Finished out the season at 7-5, so both teams have got the same records. Down the stretch, though, both teams have played generally well. You got Middle Tennessee, who's won 4 of their last 5. San Diego State's won 3 of their last 4. So both teams definitely have had solid finishes to the season, as both teams finished out at 7-5. Games be on Saturday, December 24th in Honolulu, Hawaii. Your kickoff is 8 p.m. Eastern. Spread's going with San Diego State by 7 here. So, and this kind of surprised me at first, seeing the Aztecs favored by as much as they are. I understand San Diego State is a team that they've had a tougher schedule. They've also been a team that, statistically has been better this season. But I think 7 points is a bit generous, and we'll get into more about why in just a little bit. But over-under is 49.5, and the FBI is also going with San Diego State here, 53.8%. And this is also the first time both teams have faced off against each other. Stat comparison for this one, Middle Tennessee 64th in points per game. They're 91st in points allowed, 25th in pass yards a game. So you got a strong passing offense here in Middle Tennessee, 103rd in rush yards a game. And then for yards allowed, they're 131st, dead last in passing defense. Meanwhile, they're 28th in rushing defense. So rushing defense, not bad. They got a terrible passing defense, putting them as the worst team in the FBS there. But this team has been generally good with passing the ball. At least you got Chase Cunningham, the primary starting quarterback, he's thrown for nearly 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 9 picks. Not a bad season for Cunningham. And, you also got a talented receiver, the leader being Jalen Lane, who's received over 800 yards on the season and 4 touchdowns. So, the rushing game isn't quite as outstanding as the passing game. That's for sure. This team, they're averaging like nearly 270 pass yards a game. But, when you look at it, the defensive side of the ball, that has been an issue at times for Middle Tennessee this season, especially in the passing defense. But as for San Diego State, this team is 108th in points per game, 24th in points allowed. They're 115th in pass yards a game, 88th in rush yards. And then for yards allowed, they are 29th in passing, 36th in rushing. So a strong defensive team here. That is what San Diego State is known for. Middle Tennessee on the other side is kind of balanced on both sides of the ball. They're really not outstanding in either area, but that's definitely not the case for San Diego State. This team is a strong defensive team, but not so much on the offense. They're 115th in pass yards a game, 88th in rush yards, and in yards allowed, this team's in the top 40 in both areas. They're allowing an average of 20 points a game. You compare that with Middle Tennessee, they're allowing 28 points a game. And for points per game, it's kind of the same ratio with Middle Tennessee averaging right around 29 points a game. San Diego State's averaging 21. Your recent matchups, Middle Tennessee, they beat FIU 33-28, beat Florida Atlantic as well 49-21. That was an impressive win there over Florida Atlantic. And I understand that Florida Atlantic missed out on a bowl game, but that's still a 5-7 team. They're 4-4 in conference. That was an impressive win over them. They also beat Charlotte 24-14. They lost to Louisiana Tech. That's the one loss that they have in their previous 5 games. Lost to them by 16, beat UTEP 24-13. As for San Diego State, they lost Air Force 3-13, beat up New Mexico 34-10. Also, you could say dominated San Jose State 43-27. And San Jose State's not a bad team. They got up to 7 wins as well this year, and so for that was definitely an impressive win. They also beat UNLV in a lower scoring one, 14-10. Lost to Fresno State back in late October as well, 28-32. Turns out Fresno State became the eventual Mountain West champion. And they were quite a story in the Mountain West this season. They started the season with a 1-4 record, and then they turn around and go on a massive hot streak and win their way all the way all the way into the Mountain West Championship, and they ended up winning it. But yeah, San Diego State, both teams played well down the stretch, and yeah, the Aztecs in particular, I would say offensively have looked better down the stretch, but obviously that Air Force game is definitely an outlier there. Your key points: Middle Tennessee 7-5. This team can pass the ball but can't defend it. That's the easy way to say it. This team passing defense has been horrible. They're the worst team in the FBS statistically there. They're allowing an average of 291 pass yards a game, which is terrible. But I mean, on the other side, they can pass it pretty well. And yeah, for Middle Tennessee, this team has been good down the stretch. They've won several games, and that's how they got to this matchup, was having that hot streak down the stretch. But definitely for Middle Tennessee, it's going to be tough to score points. And so, I mean, defensively, you're going to need to have a very strong game. I mean, San Diego State, this is a strong defensive team. That's what they're known for. And so, yeah, it's going to be tough to score points. And so, yeah, for Middle Tennessee, this defense is going to need to show up. It's going to be tough. I mean, if you allow 2 to 3 touchdowns in the first half, or even in a couple touchdowns in the first quarter pretty early on, that's going to definitely be a tough hole to dig yourself out of. But as for San Diego State, the Aztecs are known for their strong defense. Jalen Maiden has been the starting quarterback down the stretch. He hasn't been, I mean, really, San Diego State hasn't had a very impressive quarterback this season. Once again, it's just been primarily the defensive side of the ball that's kept the Aztecs in many football games, even though offensively we have seen a couple of impressive performances. But for the most part, yeah, it's been the defense that has kept this team in games. But in the backfield, this team has also got some talent. They got plenty of depth in the backfield. They've got 7 rushers, over 100 yards. They don't have a particular standout, but they've got some good depth in the backfield overall. But that said, let's get to the prediction here for Middle Tennessee and San Diego State coming up here in the Hawaii Bowl. And this one was tough, but I'm going to go with San Diego State to win this one 23-20. My predicted final score. I've got Middle Tennessee covering the spread. I think 7 points is a bit excessive, a bit generous in this game for San Diego State. I think this is going to be more of a lower scoring game. I expect it to be close. I think Middle Tennessee is a good football team, somewhat on the same level as San Diego State, even though I do think the Aztecs should be favored here. And I wouldn't be surprised one bit to see this be a potential upset. But yeah, I'm going to go with San Diego State 23-20. I'll say 55% towards the Aztecs, over under 49.5. I'll take the under. And once again, Middle Tennessee State to cover the spread in the end. But yeah, definitely an intriguing matchup coming up here on Christmas Eve. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this matchup. And I appreciate you guys watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.